What's good, YouTube? It's your main man, Bishop. What up? So, I'm back at home. I came home for one reason and one reason only, and it's because I had to do the sleep apnea test. So, night set it up with this company, and I had to come home because they mail a in-home sleep apnea test to your house. You strap yourself up, and you use it overnight. You send it back, and they after a week or so they get your results. Send the results tonight, and they send the results to the physician which completed the DOT physical, and they decide whether to issue you a medical card based on having to have a sleep apnea machine or clear of all sleep apnea or whatever. I don't know what my situation is because, like I said, I just sent the machine back actually today. So I will know as soon as they get everything, get it all, the data read and all that kind of good stuff. So in the meantime, I'm stuck at home, unfortunately. But hey, I get to spend more time with my family, and that's always a good thing. So I wanted to make this video for one of my buddies, a guy that I graduated CDL school with, and he's having a little bit of trouble with these companies. He's a younger guy, and so I wanted to make a video from a new guy to the trucking industry to other new guys and gals to the trucking industry on what exactly to ask these companies. And by no means am I an expert, but what I did do is I did my homework. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, hey man, like I said in another one of my previous videos, these guys will only tell you what you ask in most cases. So you have to make sure you're asking the right questions. So I guess I have to name this one Ask the Right Questions Part 2. And so from a person who, the first set of questions from a person who already has their CDL, has went through a school, and they don't have any or have very limited experience driving. So the first question I always ask, and I've asked every company this is, first, hey, orientation. Give me your orientation breakdown. Where is orientation held? Is the place the orientation held going to be my home terminal? How long is orientation? How much, or if anything, are you going to get paid for orientation? Because I've talked to some companies where they don't pay you for orientation. They say, hey, you're only here for 1 day or 2 days. I'm not going to pay you for it. One company that was like that was Heartland Express. Heartland Express does not pay for orientation. Other companies like Knight and um, I believe Prime and companies like that, they pay you for going to orientation. So that's a question to ask. Another question I always ask is, hey, as a new driver, after orientation, how long is my training? How long will I be on a trainer truck? Some companies told me short periods. Some companies like Avalon told me 6 months on a trainer truck. Um, Prime, Knight, companies like that told me it's usually between 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks. So that's another important question to ask. Another question to ask is, hey, are you guys backed up right now with students? Can you actually put me on a trainer truck? At one company, which I won't say their name, told me, listen, it may be 2 or 3 weeks before we can even get you on a truck with a trainer after you finish orientation. Something I'm really not interested in, and I'm sure a lot of people won't be interested in. So that's another important question to ask. Also ask them during training, how am I paid? Um, I believe it was someone, I don't want to say the name because I'm not for sure, but one company told me they pay you hourly. They pay you $10 an hour while you're behind the wheel and like $9 an hour, and then minimum wage when you're not behind the wheel on a trainer truck. Some companies pay $400 a week. Some companies pay $600 a week. I believe Prime pays $600 a week. I know Knight pays $400 a week. Um, how much money am I getting paid? Avalon pays you by the mile, 19 cents a mile. I believe, um, not sure exactly, but I think Celadon also pays by the mile um, with what you're running. How am I getting paid while I'm sitting on this trainer truck for however long you put me on it? It's a very important question. Because like I said before, we're all here for the money, man. So make sure you're asking money questions. Don't be afraid to bring up the money. Additionally, so you already asked them about, hey, orientation, B, training. So you say, okay, 3, with 90% of companies as a new driver, once you finish with your training on a trainer truck, you're still in some type of training or probationary period. How long is it? Ask them, how long am I on probationary period, or am I still in a training status, even though I've already become a solo driver? The reason why that's important is because most times they pay you less money or less cents per mile until you've completed a certain amount of miles as a solo driver outside of your training. Like for instance, with Night gives you, after you finish with your trainer, you have 30,000 miles where you're still in the training program even though you're a solo driver before you graduate to being a full-fledged solo driver. And at that point, they increase your cents per mile. That's an important question to ask. How long is that period? How many miles do I have to run before you no longer look at me as a trainee, but I'm now a full-fledged solo driver like everyone else who's driving inside of the fleet? It's a very important question. Another important question, especially when you're dealing with companies that have flatbed and drive-in and refrigerated, ask them how many miles per week, not per month, not per year, per week, are your drivers averaging? Whether you decide you want to go regional or on the road, or I don't want to say local, but LTL, whatever it is, you need to ask them how many miles are your drivers for this specific venue, be it regional, southeast, northeast, anything east of the Mississippi, however they break it down, how many miles per week are they running? Because they can tell you, hey man, we're paying 90 cents per mile. If you're only getting 500 miles a week, you're not making no money. So bigger than the cents is the miles, because you have to multiply the miles by the cents to figure out what your money is going to be like. So always, always, always ask, how many miles per week are your drivers averaging at the stage that I'm going to be in the area that I am in? It's important. Another thing, a lot of these companies have safety bonuses and fuel bonuses and all this kind of stuff. Ask them about how their bonus program works. Some companies don't have it. Some companies believe, hey, we pay enough money as it is, or cents as it is, that we don't need bonuses. Some of them tell you, hey, you can earn 2 cents per mile ran quarterly in this venue, and this venue, and this venue, or fuel savings, or miles per gallon, or one-time deliveries, or professionalism. Ask those questions. Find out how you can get free money, basically. It's part of the game. Another thing I've been looking to ask is make sure, if it is important to you, like it was to me, that you will or you will not be slip seating. And what slip seating is basically means you share a truck. You may be sharing a truck with one driver, or you may be sharing it with whoever gets to the truck. It's important to me that I don't slip seat. I want my own truck. I want something that I can keep clean, that I can keep well maintained. I can make sure the service is up. That's important to me. I want my own truck. Ask those questions. Like for instance, with Snyder on their Walmart account, they tell you, hey, this is a slip seat position. You won't have the same truck all the time. That's important to me. So for me, that was a deal breaker. For you, it may not really matter. But ask those questions. Another question, hey, is there an idling policy? Meaning some companies do not allow you to idle the truck until the weather is below a certain temperature or above a certain temperature. Ask those questions. Some companies have APUs, which allow you to keep the trucks cool without running the truck. It gives you, air conditioning and things like that in the back of the truck. Ask them, hey, do you guys allow inverters? And what the inverters allow you to do is to run refrigerators and TVs and things of that nature that bring the truck your home while you're on the road. Also ask about bunk heaters. Is it a diesel bunk heater? Is it an electric bunk heater? All those things are questions you want to know, because remember, this is going to be your home for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. When it gets 30 degrees outside, why do you think the truck's going to be 60 to 70 degrees comfortable for you without it running and without any heat source? Ask those questions. How do I keep the truck cool? How do I keep the truck warm? Ask those questions about the company policies on those things, because those are the things that are going to matter to you a month or 2 down the line, that you may not be thinking about right now, but you want to go ahead and get it on paper, and that way when you're making your decision, you can weigh it all out about what's important to you and what's really not important to you. Um, Another thing that I've been asking the companies is, um, out of all the running that I'm going to be doing and everything like that, are there stages and increases to your pay based on periods of time? Like, for instance, another thing with Snyder, or that I looked into is, hey, after 3 months you may get a 2 cent raise or a 1 cent raise. After 90 days, you may get another cent raise, whatever. Ask those questions because you want to know basically how I can make my money, or what's the money that's guaranteed to me just by time, without performance or without saving fuel or whatever it is. If I stay with the company this long, how can I increase my money, or at least my cents per mile? Um, and those are some of the things you want to ask these companies, because, like I said, when you get into the details, a lot of things they won't tell you because you won't ask. Another thing is detention pay. Um, how long, or do you even offer detention pay? Layover pay. How much is layover pay? How long is it before it's considered layover? Breakdown pay. How much do you pay me if the truck breaks down and I have to have the truck in the shop and I'm not making any money? Um, and ask the companies, hey, do I have to touch this freight? You know, if you're like me, I don't want to touch any freight. And that's the great thing I love about Knight is Knight says, hey, we don't want you back there. Find a lumper. Let them take care of the freight. I don't want to touch any freight. Ask them, hey, do I have to touch any freight? And how do we take care of it? Do you allow lumpers? Ask them the process about that. Now, it may seem like you're asking them 100 questions, but you got to remember, if you want to find somewhere where there are as few surprises as possible when you get out on the road, you have to ask these questions. These questions will not answer themselves if you do not ask them initially. Another thing that's important to me, because I pay for school out of pocket, you guys offer tuition reimbursement. If you do offer tuition reimbursement, how is it paid out? Is it paid out by week? Is it paid out by month? What's the total? I paid around $6 grand for school. If you only offer $3,000 in tuition reimbursement, we may not make it work, because I personally am going to be coming out of pocket for double of that. If that's important to you, you have to ask that question. Remember, it's all about communication. Ask those questions that are important to you. Another thing that I'm making sure I'm asking is, hey, is there sign-on bonuses? Some companies offer sign-on bonuses. After 30 days, you get this amount of money. After 60 days, you get this amount of money. That wasn't a deal breaker for me, but it's another thing to ask. Ask those questions, like I said. So this video, I really just want to dedicate it on some of the small things of asking these companies the right questions as you go to search for a company you want to go to. Call these companies. Call every company. I personally have talked to Swift, Prime, Royale, Knight, Heartland Express, Celadon. Jesus. I probably can go on and on and on. I probably talked to about 20 or 30 Bowman. I've talked to 20 or 30 different companies because I wanted to find a place that would, be a fit for me, Snyder. And I wanted to get all the information so that I can make a decision. Ask them what their home time policy is. It's a big thing. If home time is important to you, you need to ask them, what's your home time policy? Is it, do I get 1 day for every 7 days I'm out? Do you guys do alternative programs? I know Royale and Knight both have options that you can go 7 on and 7 off. You can go 14 on and 7 off. So you want to ask those questions. What's your home time policy? How do I get back home? How do I earn my time back home? Those are questions you want to ask. I know the video is getting kind of long, but I wanted to make sure that you guys had the information. So to my man D, big up D. This video is for you, dude. I said I was going to get it for you. So, you can run it back and make sure you ask all these companies these right questions so that you can get the right answers and make a good decision for you and your family. It's your main man, Bishop. God bless. Peace.